Hello and welcome to my channel, Single with No Kids, or SWNK for short. And my name is Renita. And today I wanted to talk about, in my series of doing relationships all wrong, the letter B. The letter B, I only came up with a few words for the letter B in finding out that I've been doing relationships all wrong, but I will share with you what I have, and you can share some extra B words with me that you might come up with or that might come to your mind. You can share those B words with me. However, the very first word that I want to get into or talk about is the B word itself. You know, the five-letter word, the female dog, the itch with the B in front of it. Yeah, I don't like that term. I don't care much for that term at all. Not by man, not by might, not by friend, not by family, not even by strangers. Because when you think of the B word, right, it's aggressive, it's disrespectful. It means that somebody has something harsh to say about you, and they always ended with that B word, right? So to me, you referring to me as that B word is aggressive. It's not endearing. How do I really know that you my friend if you calling me that word on a regular basis? Because that could be some underlying issues and an undertone for the way that you really feel about me, but you gonna say that to me, you gonna call me that, because I feel like if you gonna call me the B word, then we not really friends. We can't really be friends if that's how you feel about me, because it's derogatory. Just like, and I'll get into later with the letter N, the N word. Just because it's been used, just because we use it, just because it's a term of endearment doesn't mean that you have to use it in your vocabulary. Me, myself, you, it's all a matter of preference. But there's so many other words that we can use to call each other. And the B word or the N word doesn't have to be either one of them, because, again, it is derogatory. We have used it as a term of endearment, but that still doesn't mean that it's okay for you to call me that. And even in dating, if you want to be with me, you want to consider me, you want to court me, you want to date me, you want to converse with me. If I'm a female, why are you calling me the N word? I had to tell somebody that. Don't call me that. I'm not your homeboy. I'm not your best friend. I'm not that. I'm very much a female. So don't call me the N word, especially if you call yourself trying to get with me. Like, that's not loving, that's not welcoming, that's not endearing. That doesn't make me more attracted to you because you can say the N word like nobody else. Like, it's not like I've never heard it before. So how about we use some different type of language? Okay. So enough about that B and that N. I also want to talk about or mention bare minimum. I never thought that the bare minimum would be an issue. I never thought it would be as big of a deal as it is now. And a little bit about myself, I come from a single parent home. My mother raised me. I'm an only child. I'm single and I don't have any kids. So, and my mother was very inattentive. She was unattached emotionally. You know what I mean? She was physically there, but a lot of times she didn't give me that love and that nurturing that we all need when we're growing up in a house. But enough about that. So to me, the bare minimum wasn't a big deal because I would always just take care of it. Or thankfully, I've always been able to take care of it or to get whatever I want. Thankfully, I have been blessed enough to just have everything that I need. But when you're in relationships and you're dealing with people, them doing the bare minimum never really clicked to me, because a lot of times I'm so nonchalant and I'm not thinking about it, because I've always felt like I can tell how you feel by the way that you treat me, and then I act accordingly. So if we're in a relationship and you don't want to do X, Y, and Z, guess what? I'll do it myself. If I have to ask you more than once, if I have to remind you more than once, if I have to make mention of it, if I have to suggest it, if I have to flat out tell you stuff all the time, then that's borderline bare minimum. And clearly, you really don't have the greatest intentions for dealing with me, right? So I was just going about my business. If it was what it was, then it was what it was. And when our time was up, when our time passed, as they call them, situationships now, as our time passed, we just went on about our business because I know now that love is not demanding, love is not forceful, love is kind. It's all those things that the Bible says that it is, right? But if I have to keep reminding you and asking you and telling you and saying to you and doing things of that nature, then clearly it's not as important to you as it is to me. So therefore, that there comes the bare minimum because I'm being nonchalant about things and you're not really trying to do any more than what you're already doing. And that's not good enough for me. So being smacked in the face with it now, bare minimum is all that most people will give you if you allow them to. And I didn't know that I was doing that wrong in my relationships. I did not notice that I was doing relationships all wrong with even the bare minimum because I've always probably given more than the people that I've dealt with could give me. And you know how they say to meet people where they are and let people be who they are and things of that nature. So what I realized also is that me letting people be who they are and dealing with them where they are doesn't serve me either, because when the shoe is on the other foot, if you're not doing what they want you to do, what they need you to do, what they ask you to do, it's a problem for them. But when I ask and when I say something about getting a little bit more from you than what you've given me, it's a problem. Make that make sense to me. Like, so I've learned that doing relationships all wrong, accepting and dealing with the bare minimum has not served me and has not been it's been a good teacher, and I've learned a valuable lesson about it, and we won't be doing that anymore. Also, another B word that I thought about was having a backbone, right? Not to say that you can walk all over me or, I guess I settled for so long and then I just take what I could get and then I'm being nonchalant because I have a scarcity mindset. All of these things, I never really paid attention to how strong or how weak my backbone was. Because, like I said, most of the time I would just assess the situation, act accordingly and move around. No confrontation, no big arguments, no long drawn out conversations about what's going on because I figured I've already talked to you enough about it. And if you're not willing to change it or do anything to fix the situation or rectify the problem, then I guess that I'm no longer needed here. So that doesn't serve me to stay. But the way my backbone was set up, because I'm borderline a people pleaser, because of being an only child and not having any kids and not having an emotional available parent, not to say that there wasn't love there, but I guess just me not having a backbone, I guess a fear, like I said, scarcity, a fear of abandonment, a fear of people leaving me hanging, a fear of waiting for the other shoe to drop or things of that nature has caused me to ease up on my backbone a little bit. But again, we're not doing that anymore. And what I've learned about me doing relationships all wrong is that doesn't serve me either. I could think about being in relationships when everybody else gets their way, but when it comes to me to get my way and to get the things done that I asked to get done, it's not happening. But then when I say something, when I speak up or whatever, they always make me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm crazy or what makes you think that you can come to me and say that and all this other indignant type of behavior and attitude, right? And so then I guess I would just back down because my backbone was like, well, whatever, I'll just take care of it. That's always been my thing is I will take care of it. And I guess that caused my backbone to be a little more weaker than it should be. But again, in discovering that I've been doing relationships all wrong, we're not doing that anymore. And my mom always used to say to me, Renita, there's a way that you can say things and you don't have to be so mean the way that you say things and you don't have to say it like that. It's all about how you say things. I understand that, but I also realized that even when I was saying those things to her, she just wasn't in a place to receive things the way that I was saying them. And that was her way to get me to back down and back up off of her. But also using it as a defense mechanism because I see that somebody's trying to take advantage of me or they're not being fair and things are one-sided and I'm doing too much. So me saying things the way that I said things was just the way that things needed to be said. So ever since then, which leads me to my next word, which is balance. In discovering that I've been doing relationships all wrong, I realized that there's been a lack of balance between accepting the bare minimum, between when to use the backbone and when to have it, when to flex it, when to be nonchalant, when to be assertive, when to be aggressive, when to be all of these things. There's been a slight lack of balance because also I'm one of those people that when I get with somebody, and some of us are like this. You can tell me if you like this or not. That when we get with people, sometimes we adapt or adopt their habits, their behaviors, what they're doing, where they're going. So we might stop what we're doing because we're with somebody. And if they're not wanting to do what we want to do, then we'll do what they want to do. And then we don't ever get our stuff done. Right. So I realized that there's been a lack of balance in some of my relationships, especially when dealing with men with kids, because men with kids always have ex-wife issues, ex-wife lady issues, baby mama issues, ex-wife lady issues, baby mama issues, somebody mama mad at them or whatever they got going on with their kids. They always got something going on with their kids. So there's a lack of balance with that. And when they don't have that in full effect, then it plays a part into my relationship or maybe even your relationship where there's a lack of balance all over the place. And that lack of balance can also lead to chaos, and that chaos can lead to destruction, and nobody wants that, right? And the disillusion of a relationship if there's no fixing the lack of balance and when things are one-sided. Yeah, mainly when things are one-sided, there's a lack of balance because previously being a people pleaser, and I feel like also with having the lack of balance, I'm not playing no games with nobody. Like if I'm seeing you, and this is a part of my other problem and a part of a B word that I'm going to say is, you know how you put all your eggs in one basket. That's been me. So I put all my eggs in one basket with this one person, and there comes the lack of balance because things are one-sided because they're getting their things done, and when I'm wanting to do something or when I need my cup to be filled or when I'm asking for things to be done and it's not being done, and guess what, there's a lack of balance in my life, which spills over into the relationship because I'm having to still take care of and do things myself when I got a whole able-bodied partner or person situationship that I'm dealing with, but that doesn't step up or step in. Like I shouldn't have to tell you I need you to step up. I shouldn't have to tell you to step in. I shouldn't have to tell you because I'm not your mama and I'm not supposed to be telling you nothing, but I shouldn't have to say to you all the time. Now, I don't expect you to read my mind, but if you know that there are things going on and you know that you are the way that you are, and you might be being a little selfish and a little inconsiderate, but you really not caring about that and not thinking about it. Can't you see that your woman might need some things too? Yeah, I haven't ever experienced that, but that's okay. What we not gonna do is that anymore. And there was something else that I was gonna say, and I got sidetracked with the balance and the basket and things of that nature. Oh, the way that I am is I believe in all my eggs in one basket, which could lead to a lack of balance. Because dealing with too many people is a lot to be juggling, and nobody got time for that. Like, I got a life, I got a job, I got hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals and things, and ambitions that I'm trying to fulfill and manifest things to come into my life. So it's too much dealing with too many people. So I'm a one egg in a basket type person, which has led to a lack of balance in some of my relationships. And I realize that now in me doing relationships all wrong, that we're not doing that anymore. So that's my other B word. My one B word was balance. My other B word was the basket. And my other B word that I will bring up is boundaries. Did not know that I needed to set boundaries when dealing with certain people at certain times in certain places and points in my life. Did not know that I needed to have boundaries. Did not know that I knew about setting standards or whatever, but that's later in the S's. But the boundaries part, I never really thought about or paid much attention to because, again, if I'm dealing with one person, then I'm doing too much for one person, and okay, you can say some things are off limits, but things really aren't off limits because I'm dealing with you, right? So the sky is the limit. So with the sky being the limit, you don't think about having any boundaries because the person that you're dealing with is right here in front of you, and this is what you're doing. But on the mental part of it and the emotional part of it, the vulnerability aspect of it, there I've learned that there does need to be boundaries set. So what are we not going to do? We're not going to do that anymore, which is not have boundaries. So in doing relationships all wrong, I realized that I did not have any boundaries with some of the people that I have been dealing with. Like me and my tacky self or my tactless self would just say what I'm saying and say what I said. Um, but not knowing that I needed to always reinforce that because I also never thought that I needed to set boundaries with people that I was dealing with. And forgive me for thinking that I'm so great and I'm so grand because I really didn't think that I was great and grand. But yeah, I think I'm a big deal, right? But I just didn't think that the people that I was dealing with that I needed to set boundaries with. And that's friends, that's family, and that's lovers as well. I did not think that I needed to set boundaries with them, which also goes back to having a lack of balance, which also goes back to accepting the bare minimum. Is because what I've learned is if I didn't set those boundaries with those people or some people that need boundaries set before them, that they would just give you the bare minimum. Or what's the other term? They would breadcrumb you, right? Give me a little bit here, give me a little bit there, call me once a week, call me every blue moon, call to be checking my temperature and things of that nature. Like I didn't know that I needed to be like, hey, that's not acceptable. I don't like the fact that you don't call me every day or on a regular basis. And matter of fact, if you can go for 3 or more days without talking to me, how about you don't call me anymore? Right? That's the boundary that we set in these days, right? I know this one time I was dealing with this guy, and I don't know if he was playing hard to get, and I wasn't playing hard to get. Like I can love you or leave you, it don't matter to me, right? So talking to this guy, and I believe, and I counted, it was not 7 whole days, but it was 13 whole days that it took him to call me. And when I finally did touch base with him, he was like, well, ain't nobody got time to be playing no games. You know, the phone worked both ways, and why you didn't call me? Well, because I'm over here living my life. You the one that got everything going on up under the sun that you're not trying to include me in or really involve me in. So why would I really be trying to reach out to you and I could see that you're really not trying to include me and stuff? I'll talk about that later. But so why would I go out of my way to make sure that I'm calling you and I know that you got stuff going on that you're really not involving me in? I'm not playing no games either. But I can clearly see that that you're not able to make me as much of a priority as I need to be made. So if you wasn't calling me, then it was cool. And long story short, or after that version, the short version right there, we don't even talk anymore. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because the boundary that I set after them 13 days, you got to do better than that. And you got to do better than that. That's how I feel. And I guess I've always felt you can call me a little bit of a narc if you want to, and I don't care. But the fact that I don't have any kids, I think that's a great attribute in itself. I'm truly thankful that I am able to do what I want to do when I can and to afford the life that I live, and I'm open to more. And without me having any kids, I think I'm pretty much in great shape. So if you're gonna play me like it don't matter, then I'm gonna move like you don't matter. What they used to say, if you don't mind, it don't matter. So that's what we gonna do, and we don't have to talk anymore. That's fine. That's fine because later on in the P's, we're going to talk about being a priority or somebody prioritizing you or making you a priority because that's also something that I never really thought about because I'm too busy being considerate, understanding, and thoughtful to somebody else's needs, which causes a lack of balance, which ends up with me getting the bare minimum, which the bare minimum leads to me being breadcrumb, which has been all a mess and why I have discovered that I have been doing relationships all wrong. And I'm here to tell you that it stops today. And let's see, another B word that I had written down. And again, if you have other B words that you can think of that comes to mind that you want to share, just leave me a message, leave me a comment or something. like, subscribe, share, whatever. Just leave me a message. Let me know you know what I'm talking about, right? So my other B word that I had thought about and came up with was belief. Belief is what I can think of, and what I want to say, belief or lack thereof, right? So again, the way that I was brought up, knowing that I tried not to people please or do too much, but deep down inside, I can't help but be some of the way that I am. But I'm learning since doing relationships all wrong that that's not what it is. So finding the balance there, but the belief or lack thereof. So not trying to believe in waiting for the other shoe to drop. Um, Believing the lies and the deception and the betrayal. And you know how some people just go out of their way to make sure that they doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, or it's in their nature to be a certain way, just like it might be in my nature to people please a little bit, or to be a giver or whatever, or to be, not so tactful with what I might say. Yeah, some people are the worst version of that, and they hurt you, they try to destroy you, they tear you down or whatever. So my belief or my lack thereof was, again, not thinking that I would warrant that kind of behavior from people that I've dealt with. But let me tell you something, since I have relocated, because I live somewhere now different than I used to live before, but ever since I have relocated, I have learned people are so self-centered. They have no consideration. They have no care in the world about other human beings. And I understand that being kindness is free. Being kindness should be something that is practiced. But these people out here in these streets, there's no love, no love. But you know what the word says about those who are wicked, right? And I'm not saying that I'm not wicked, but he said I was righteous, so therefore I am righteous. However, you know how we all just have some of our ways, but my lack of belief made me feel like some of that behavior I didn't warrant. I didn't warrant you to mistreat me. I didn't warrant you to run game on me. I didn't warrant you to lie to me. Like, I like to think that I'm a down to earth person. I'm pretty honest for the most part, and I might be telling on myself, but whatever. I'm pretty honest and straightforward and direct, and I could be, my mouth can be a little bit reckless, but not enough to cuss nobody out or nothing like that. I have a decent balance with my humanity and my kindness and the way that I get down, right? But a lot of people take advantage of that. So my lack of belief was thinking, dang, I didn't think that so and so would really just try to do that to me. I didn't really think that so and so was really trying to get over on me like that. I really didn't think that so and so would come down to this with so and so. You know what I mean? I was just like mind blown at the stuff when it finally came and hit me in the face. Like, whoa, that's really what that was. Call me a little slow on the draw. Jesus know I'm a little slow on him, but he's always on time. But just saying that again, I didn't warrant certain behavior from certain people. When you're doing good and you think that you're doing right by people and your intentions are right and pure and all of that stuff, you don't expect that. But the devil does come in different shape, forms, and fashions. And we all know how he gets down. And I remember one time I was saying that to my friend about somebody that I was dealing with. And she was like, you doing too much. You calling them the devil, girl. That's just a little bit too much, don't you think? And then now come to find out years later, hindsight being 2020, no, I was right. I was right. Because some people just do things to you because they think that you've done something to them because of something that was done to them. And I'm not one of them people. I give everybody a clean slate until you actually do some stuff that's foul to me, that actually makes me offended and makes me feel some type of way where I'm really not trying to deal with you no more. We cool. But once you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes, you trying to be smarter than the average bear and all this other stuff, and undermining me and talking down to me and trying to make fun of me, and I'm the butt of your jokes and stuff of that nature, yeah, I'm cool on you. I'm going to just pray for you and go on about my business. I'm not going to continue to let you pray on me. I'm going to just pray and go on about my business. And sometimes it takes a little longer than others. And sometimes, some of them situations is like a gut punch. But thank God that he gets you out of that situation and he lets you see that thing before it's too late. So In all thy getting, get an understanding. And I have gotten an understanding that I have been doing relationships all wrong. So I thank you for me and my long winded self going in on the B word, being it bare minimum, breadcrumbing, balance, or lack of it, boundaries, or belief, or lack of belief. Hopefully, if you have some more words, you can share those with me. Drop me a comment, leave me a message, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit share it. Come back and stay tuned because you know what comes after B, right? If I'm going through this whole alphabet on doing relationships all wrong, I got something for every letter. And maybe by then you can come up with something to think and share and we can talk about it. Because there's probably some B words that I'm not even thinking about or coming to mind right now. Don't make me pull out my dictionary because I'm a wordsy type of person, and I will get my dictionary and just look for something with a B just to have something to say with a B. But that's what I wanted to share about doing relationships all wrong. And now that I have gotten an understanding of how I've been misconstrued about relationships and doing them all wrong. And even Bishop said something on Sunday. He preached a word about not being hoodwinked. Yes, yes, some of us get the wool pulled over our eyes. Some of us are not expecting some of the things that happen, even though we're not supposed to be ignorant to Satan's devices. Sometimes he really does catch us off guard. But what we not going to do is that anymore. We are not going to let him catch us off guard anymore because we have realized that we have been doing relationships all wrong. And the God in me, and hopefully the God in you, is going to correct it and manifest something better. And while we manifesting something better and letting things be corrected, we gonna get busy living. So until the next time I see you with that C word, I'll see you and get busy living.